Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of World of Tanks. And we've got a replay analysis for Captain Klink, who sent me a message, said, looking for assistance, trying to get better at the game. You can see that I've got his stats here, so we can immediately stat shame him. No, that's not why we do this. If you've been around, you understand. If not, I always take a look at the new guys that are coming in and asking for a replay analysis. I want to know where they've been. So we're going to take a look at their general gist of how they have played, and in this case, about 10,000 battles for Captain Klink. Was that before he was Colonel Klink? Colonel Klink, I see nothing. That's actually Sergeant Schultz, right, that says that? If you're old enough to understand what that is, good on you. Captain Klink. So here is Captain Klink's stats. I'm going to take a quick look at those, and we're going to look at 3 battles. He sent me 5. I picked 3 of them. A T-44 battle, which is Tier 8, getting at a little higher tier, and then 2 T-34-85 battles. It's nice to see the same tank played twice, and I've already got some general ideas of what I want to talk about. But let's take a quick look at his stats. These are a snapshot of his entire resume, right? Not his recents, although with 9,836, it's probably pretty close to his recents, unless he's done some really significant improvement. He's at 47.01%, slightly below average. 401 damage per battle, which is relatively low, but we are going to have to take a look at the average tier to some extent. Experience relatively low, and then we've got 1 Ace Mastery badge. But let's look over here, because these are where kind of the important numbers start to jump out at us. 10,000 battles, I talked about the victories. Survived is 28.66. That's actually not bad. That's getting near the ballpark. Getting near the ballpark. We'll look at it in just a second, but he tends to be a TD player, so that is going to skew your battles survived a little bit more when you're but when you're mainly a TD player. Even with a low win rate, because you're usually hiding out in the back, trying to be stealthy, you tend to live even on some of the losses. So 28% is getting into the ballpark, but not quite there. We'll talk about why in a moment. Hits at 50.71 is way, way low. And if you're not driving a lot of artillery, which he's got some, but not much, then that is definitely something we need to take a look at. We're missing too much. We're definitely missing too much. My spiel on that is the standard thing, guys. We're all different. We all have our own issues. You know, I've talked to people that use trackballs, people who have use of one hand, people who are older, who have, different medical conditions, things like that. So it can be a challenge depending on what your personal situation is. But what I'm going to try to do is talk a little bit about the mechanics of the game and see if we can't give some help, even if you're dealing with some of these issues. But 50.71 is really low, and the point of that is 50.71 hit rate is going to severely hamper your ability to do damage, right? Where should it be? Above 70. Ideally as close to 80 as possible. If it's much above 80, as I always say, if it's above 80, either you're very, very good or you're not taking enough shots. Okay, you're being very careful in your shots. Damage ratio and destruction ratio, 0.77, 0.63. Those should be 1. 1 is about 50% win rate. Okay, they're not perfect correlations, but they do follow to a large extent. So if you're running a 1 damage and a 1 destruction, you are somewhere near 50% more than likely, or slightly above. Could be slightly below, obviously, but that's a ballpark figure. What that means is you are giving as much as you receive, and you are killing as much as you die. And you can see that both those numbers are subterranean. That's not the word. Upside down. Thank you. There we go. Thank you, audience, for the word that you didn't tell me. Armor use efficiency, 0.29. That really depends on whether you drive a lot of armored tanks or not, so but don't take too much from that. It would only matter really if all you did was drive heavily armored heavy tanks. Then you would, maybe there's a takeaway from that, but that's more or less a throwaway number, to be quite honest. Okay, capture and defense. This is interesting. He has twice as many capture points as defense points. In general, even good players will have some more capture points than defense points, but twice as many indicates you're driving to the cap too much, which means that you're probably not meta flexing back to your cap, or going back to endangered flanks, or going back to reset your cap. You're more of the mindset of pushing on to the enemy cap. Now let's take a quick look, and I've done this before. These are my stats. All right, and I just want to show you. And again, it's one example, okay? But I guarantee it. find some of the best players in the game. Find some good players, some blue players. Look at these numbers, and you will generally find what I'm about to show you to be very, very true. And I've done this combination or done this comparison with players who are much better than me, the guys who run 3,000 win rates, and their numbers are all better. Weird. Over a large enough sample size, that's how it works. Okay, so I'm sitting at 58.36. My survival rate is in the ballpark. I wish my survival rate was higher. So I am an aggressive player. I really would like it to be more like 43 to 45, but it's not because I screw up and I am more aggressive. Hits at 73. That's the ballpark you want to be in. That would be a lot higher if I didn't play as much arty as I did. So there is something to that, but while you do have some arty, that doesn't really, to me, answer the 50.71. Damage ratio 1.7, destruction ratio 2.27. I'm giving well more than I receive. Hence, I'm going to come out with probably a higher win rate over a large sample size. Armor use efficiency, whatever, 0.4. My capture points are higher than my base defense points, but they are not double. And I'll be honest with you, I spent a lot of time running to caps before I really kind of got the idea of what I preach about if your cap is threatened and you've won your flank, go back. Okay? If you have any kind of question about your cap being threatened, go back. Okay? And there's not much else to see here as far as this goes. We'll just take a look at his infographics. Like I said, mainly a TD player, it looks like. If we look at his vehicles, the most played are generally TDs in here until we get down to the T44 and the Hummel at 277. So he does have a lot of battles in the Hummel, which is going to cost him a little bit. So what is his UDES hit rate? 59. Better, but not great. That should have an amazing hit rate because it's very accurate. So that's low still right there. The Sue's at 52. How about the Hellcat? 54. We're at 47. That's a little derpier gun. So you can see, how about the ISU? No, at 55.91. Doing a little bit better there. Prototype, 60.72. Generally getting in the ballpark that you want. All right, so newer player looking at about, I just clicked away from it. Newer player looking at about 10,000 battles. What can we take away? Takes too much damage, does too little damage, and dies a little bit too much, and doesn't hit what he's aiming at. So let's take a look at that with an eye towards maybe helping with some of those things on his replay analysis. And the cool thing here is he's running mediums, which he doesn't do very much. He's trying to get better. So let's see what we can do to help Captain Klink, before he was a colonel, get better. So we will start here on Karelia. He has spawned into the southwest, and he's headed up here towards the north on the west side of the map. He's in his T-34-85, which is a pretty fantastic Tier 6 medium tank, but he is bottom tier, so he's got to be careful. Now, there's a shot. I actually like that shot. That was fine. That's a snap. You're going to have a huge dispersion circle, but that's the shot that you had right there. That guy was going behind the rock. I keep hitting my own mic right there. Then we get in this bush, and now we knock a tree down, and we're looking at this KV2, and I'm like, all right, what's the plan here, man? And I'm going to say this quite a bit, and it's something you really should try to put through your mind when you're playing this game. Always be asking yourself, what's the plan? And not only what's the plan, but what's the next move? All right, so what was the plan? Just think about this for a minute. The deployment on this map. We got a T-34 headed up this way. 1. KV2 is, I don't know what he's doing back here. He's hiding in a bush. We've got a couple RDs, a couple guys. The Su-100, I don't know if this heavy's headed down here, but we got a decent push down into the south. The SP-1C is taking on the 50-2, and the 122-44 is in the middle. So my question then is, all right, what is the plan? There's two ways to go really on this map with a medium. Go over here, try to get up on this area here, or come up here and work in amongst these two big rocks and try to see what's going on. Eventually maybe push into them or shoot at guys in the middle. So we're going to watch what happens. Captain heads on up this way and gets into a bush. You'll notice that he's running a camo net on a medium. If that's all you've got the cash for, then go ahead and use it. But a camo net on a medium is just about useless. Just about useless. There are situations, obviously, if you can bush up and use it, but if that's your plan, that's where I go back to what's the plan. If your plan going into this is to use a camo net and hide in a bush, I really think you need a new plan for your mediums. you're mainly a TD player, so that sort of makes sense to me why we got here. But we need to start breaking those habits if we're going to play medium tanks. So we really futz around getting in that bush for I'm not exactly sure what reason. And now we go to the next bush, which we clearly know about these bushes. Now we're kind of sitting here, and we go, oh, what's going on over there? Okay, and then, whoa. You do this a lot when you zoom in, and then you turn your turret, and it looks like you're sweeping your mouse, or you have a trackpad. I'm not really sure what it is, or a track wheel, or whatever. So take a look at that, and we're just going to talk about it right now because camera technique is really important in this game. You spend a lot of time in this view, and you were zoomed in, and you moved your. See, I just used my mouse, and it may be a mouse sensitivity thing. I don't have to move my mouse very far to make that happen, and I don't have to do it that way. So take a look at that. You may want to increase your mouse sensitivity so you get more travel on the screen for less travel on your mouse pad. And again, I don't know what mechanical device you are using right there. Also, see how I'm zoomed out? I zoom in, zoom out. When you watch me, it's going to get a little dizzy sometimes because I'm doing this. Zooming in, taking a look, zooming out. What's going on behind me? Remember to lock your turret forward with your right mouse button so you can kind of look around. And I am constantly going, what's going on around me? Where's that guy? Is he going to spot me? Is there another guy? Do I see a tree going down? Where's my allies? What the hell are they doing? What's going on up here? Do I have a shot? Don't have a shot. What's going on back over here? Oh, tree went down. What's going on the hill? Oh, geez, those guys can shoot me. These are all things I'm taking in right there. And it's a constant process. And you'll get better at it. You know, don't look at that and go, oh, geez, Guido knows everything at all times. That's not true. A lot of times I get fixated on what's going on and I forget and I don't notice people behind me or what's going on. But when it's a little bit of dead time, I'm like, all right, what's going on? All those things are going through my mind and more. At least I'm trying to make them do so. The start is to get your good camera technique and start looking around. All right, so let's just kind of watch that as we go because we're really just trying to do this whole thicken up the bush so I can take my free shots. I don't want to get hit. And we kind of hang out here. Now, what I want you to think about for a moment is what's going on behind you. I'm not going to say anything about just for a moment to your right and not necessarily directly behind you, but off to the east. What's going on? Nothing good because your scout just died, which means these dudes are now sort of free. There is a Su-101 and a 122-44 watching, but there's some scouts trolling around. This is the one I'm especially worried about. We haven't taken this hill, so God knows what's up there. This dude's trolling around, and my rear end is sticking out behind this bush right here. This is not a great position. And I've got 3 tanks now moving up. It's great to support the T-44, but he's clowned it up by getting into this little notch right here. Instead of going hold down right here, this T-34 could have held guys here for days. Come up there and go hold down and just start blapping the living snot out of these guys. I mean, it's just awful that he's back there. You could have also gone up there and got some SA. That goes back to my what's your plan. If I was going to support this T-34, I would have blitzed straight up here, maybe got up to about here, but probably just this corner or this one and take a peek. And when I saw them come and turn around and run for it, and then bring him back into this T-34 if he's just going to sit there. And your sniper KV-2, who I just want to actually punch in the face, but whatever. You've got a sniper KV-2 back there. But here they are. Now that they're here, what do we do? Well, let's watch. We're going to see this multiple times. The problem with this whole idea here is you can't see what the hell these guys are doing. And you have a good idea that these bushes, when they're solid, it means you can't be seen. But you also can't find these guys. So the technique here that I use is if I don't see them, I move my mouse around like this. Do I have any highlights on these dudes? It looks like they're both down below the terrain, at least to my line of sight. But a lot of times I see you, when you do it, zoom in, you're low. Look for the turret. Look for where the highlight stops. Oh, I can barely see the turret. Okay, and we'll see this multiple times. Also, you can move forward into the bush and clear the blockage away and look at what the terrain looks like. You don't have to shoot from there, but go forward and look. I do that all the time. I'll just drive forward and go, what is actually going on here? Oh, I see. They're behind that terrain ahead of me, and they're kind of peeking up and over. And maybe there's a rock over here one's using, or whatever it is. that I can watch them do their thing and start to kind of process, all right, what is their plan? What do they think they're going to do here? But I can't see that from here. All I know is I'm just waiting for a highlight, but I'm not really interested in trying to find a shot. And this goes back to shooting more, which is how you do more damage. It is also how you make sure you... See how that guy just came up? I don't quite have a highlight on him yet. There he is. And, of course, the stupid replay is going to do that to me. I know you have a highlight on him, you just can't see it right now. There we go. And it takes you a while to find him. Like, oh geez. So just shot behind him. That's just gunnery. Just real quick, since we're getting into super basics right here. That guy was coming from left to right. He was moving in that direction, right? From left to right. That means you needed to lead fire. You needed to shift right slightly and shoot him at the front wheel. And it's going to depend on how fast he's moving. That guy wasn't moving particularly fast. But you want to go forward on his hole and then shoot, as opposed to either aim dead center of mass or at the back of him, because you're going to miss. And if you aim at his turret, then remember there's all that dead space behind his turret. Go down low onto his hole, especially if he's exposing it to you, and shoot him. Turrets have a lot of weird angles in general, so I'd rather hit him in a flat side of the hole right there. Now you go forward and get an idea of it. That's good. And we finally get a shot. Okay, so we get our shot, and we go, okay, that's all good. We got our shot, okay. Thank goodness you're not getting shot from somewhere else. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now we're going to back out. We're going to back, and what do we got here? Oh, we got a little edge and a little bit more. Yeah, we'll get our shot, and then we take a shot. Look what we've done. We've put ourselves out behind so that the T-32 can now see us right there. Or potentially, and I don't know if that... I'm not 100% sure the T-32 saw you. I think he saw the back of your tank. But potentially, that T-50-2 who's been trolling around in here is in one of these bushes, and he saw you down here. In any event, you've done been seen. You get another shot. Now, my next question for you is, what's the plan? This is bad. This is very bad. You've got three guys. You've got a compromised flank on your right side. You've got some guys sitting back here. Look at this IS-3 is still in the cap. I mean, your team did you no favors, but we got to deal with what we've got. We got to do our best. We have to live our best life, even as these clowns are pooping up the place. All right. So, what should you do? You know what I would do? I think I'd bail out of here. The T-34 is done. You're not going to help them. You got to hold down T-32. The only way to get shots on these guys is to move so far forward into the bushes that once you fire, they're all going to see you. I'd just spin around and I'd head out. I might try to get down in this ravine, or I might even try to get all the way back up and get a little support. I love that KV-2 sniper. He's amazing. So let's see what happens. Again, yeah, see, now somebody sees us. And this makes me believe that the T-50-2 has you in sight, because this dude just keeps firing. We're going to mess around here. Another hit. And we back out, and boom, dead. Oh, wait a minute. No, it wasn't him. Had to be the T-50-2 that saw you. He's shooting. This guy's shooting you from here, but this dude is probably in these bushes right here, spotting you. And we're dead. So, a couple things in there that we can look at. Initial positioning. I don't like how you did that, because it was very slow and very passive, and you jumped in a bush. And you're going to find that if you play like a TD and everything that you play, you are definitely going to be at the mercy of what your team does. So start to shift as you try to get better at this game. Start to shift from being at the mercy of what your team does to being at the forefront of what your team does. Try to be a part of the win as opposed to attempting to stave off the defeat. You're going to take lumps. You're going to die. You're going to have 0 damage games. You're going to go to places and get rolled over. It's going to be frustrating. But you're never going to figure that out unless you do it. That's like the dumbest statement of all time right there. But it's true. Right? It's completely true. If you don't start to try to do it, you will never figure out how to do it. And it will be nothing but pure frustration. And let's all remember, folks, this is a pixel tank game. So if I drive my pixel tank out and I blow it up, if I am died, who cares? Now the troll who follows you into the garage and yells at you might care, but once again, who cares? And even that has comedy value if you're able to take that and and internalize it the right way, as in, okay, Clown Boy's mad. You know what I'm saying? All right, so real slow to deploy. Messed it around in the bushes, missed some opportunities, came up here, hung out in a bush, started to get pushed, didn't quite use the bush right, didn't realize that you had your side was compromised, and died basically at the end of the day. Gave you some camera technique things. We'll talk again about that on the next one because we got some of the similar stuff going on. But you're new to the game, so you're learning on how to position. So for me, this side, like I said, all the way up here to this corner, you don't have enough to go around the corner, right? The T-34, unless he comes up with you. And you know what might happen if you do that? He may come up there with you instead of hiding in a corner, hiding behind a rock. This tank is amazing up here. So many hold down capabilities, and he gets over it. Just, I don't get it. And then the KV-2. But again, this is the team you're given. The cards you were dealt, you want to try to maximize that. Once you see these guys come and bail out, come back here to this bush, that's fine. You know it's there. Get a shot or two if you can. But once you realize that, you know what, I'm screwed, I can't do anything here without getting spotted, bail out and run away. Run away! Go up here somewhere, find another rock, side scrape out of something, and just fall back and try to bring these clowns into the battle. The other option is to go down here and try to get the hill. That's a more aggressive play. These days it's very hard to actually win this hill and do anything with because there's so many crossfire opportunities, and a lot of times you'll run into a heavier push by them. But that's a more aggressive position up there to sweep them off this, and then you can flex back. All right, that's enough on this one. Let's move on to the next one. Second example, we are on Steeps. Yes, I haven't had a good Steeps replay in a while. It's too bad you didn't send me a FaGeorge replay. Yeah. T-34-85. Captain Klink, before he was a colonel, before he was running Stalag 13 and had a sergeant named Schultz. He is over here on the east side. All right. This what you're doing here indicates to me that you understand the game to a large extent. You're creating yourself this nest right here. You're using these trees as cover. I bet you've done this in your TDs multiple times. The negative here, of course, is that anyone who's paying attention knows there's a bunch of guys up here. If I'm an arty, I'd probably drop one in here unless I got somebody to shoot on. Oh, excuse me. All right, I wanted to talk about this because we're going to sit here and mess around, but see my technique that I'm using where I just kind of move it around and look for it? What that tells me is I just barely have a shot on that guy, right? I can just barely see him, but I do this so I can figure it out. And I'm going to watch what you do. Yeah, okay, point at him. Where is he? Nope, don't see him. Also, it was quite a bit late. Now, there's another example. You did that last time. You're fully zoomed in, and you're just kind of, whoa. That's the soda straw, dude. That's hard to do, right? If I'm looking down a soda straw and someone's to my right and I'm like, oh, what's going on? That's difficult. Zoom out, man. Zoom out and move it around and go, ooh, that's what's going on. Your turret will follow. It'll get there eventually. Turn your view around and go and zoom in and go, what's going on here? And then eventually your gun will swing around and you're going to go, all right, do I have a shot on him? No. We eventually get there. We zoom out, and that's good. And we're sort of looking, but you know what? I think you had shots in here, dude. I'm going to watch this guy come in. There we go. Now that's me. I'm doing that. I'm going to show you. You just sort of point right at it. Look around. Use the pipper, like the center dot. I call it the pipper there, to look around for the guy. Now you got a little light on, but you didn't quite get a shot. We move forward, and now we're going to move back. We go, oh, holy cow. I also think, are you using shift for zoom? There you go. Now that's a nicely aimed shot. You get spotted. Man, I don't think I'd stay there. And then that was really interesting to me, and I don't know why that happened. Only you would know why that happened. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes I pull the shot off. But you had that one really nicely aimed shot. Then you got spotted, and I think you were maybe thinking about trying to run away, and then you just jerked the shot up to the right. And I'm not sure what happened right there. What one option would have been to auto-aim him right there, especially if he's coming straight at you like that, and take that shot while you're backing out. I don't think I would sit there in this case when I got lit. And here's why. Look at all these guns still in the game. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounted for over here. 6, 7 counting the dead guy. 8, 9, 10 counting the artillery. There's 5 guns unaccounted for. There has to be 2 or 3 of them here. And that means you were lit 3 seconds ago, right? When the thing goes off. Even though you had a shot, and I do that too. Sometimes I stand in. But if it's early game, I try not to. I'll just accept I'm not getting that shot, or I'll just snap it, but I'm already moving. I'm getting the heck out of dodge if I can. And it just took you a little while to back off of that thing. But that whole time, you're actually reloaded, and you had a shot, right? So that's fine to keep your attention on him. As you're backing off down the road, down the hill here, I'd be zoomed in, and I might even just take that snapshot. And that's where what good players do. They're always looking for that next shot. They're always trying to create that next shot. And even while defending this way, going, oh shit, I'm lit, let's back out, they're still going, I probably still have shots on this guy, because guess where he is? He's up on the flat up here. He's completely exposed. And even if it's just a snap, it might go in, right? So we're kind of futzing around like, okay, I guess I don't have a shot. Just nothing, right? No apparent awareness of what's going on with that. And dude, I say that because A, it's true, and B, there's a fix, right? It's not a, oh, you're stupid, you have no awareness. It's that in that case, you were not aware of that. You should have been. You can be. And if you get told about it and start to practice it, you will. That's how it works. And it's interesting, too, because a lot of times I'm talking to professionals, and they get it, right? Professionals of whatever it is that you do, your industry, your job, whatever. You understand that with practice and effort and learning and the right training, you can actually do that thing, whatever it is that you do. This is the same thing with the added benefit of it. It's a silly game. That if you fail, you don't care. Right? But if you apply the get better piece that you understand how to do, it's actually pretty easy to get better. Now, this was an interesting little sequence for me while I was babbling, because we had him lit, but again, I'm kind of thinking, well, what's the plan? Now, what's going on in the game? Let's take a look at that. You guys are winning, man. It's 6-2. You have a light tank in front of you. This push is about dead. There's probably a lot of campers back here, but I got this T-50-2 lighting me up here. And I'm sitting here highlighting him, but I got nobody to shoot at him. There's nobody to shoot this guy. Maybe this TD up here, I guess. Maybe, is that what you were thinking? Maybe the Hellcat? Dude, I'd have just come around the corner and killed that dude. Just go around the corner and kill him. Yes, you may have taken some aggro from TDs there, but this is now the part of the game, and this is what good players understand. This is now the part of the game where everything is starting to collapse into your favor. And in order to get hit points now, you've got to be carefully aggressive and go get them. Go find the shots. Go kill the guys you can see. Move from hit point to hit point. Gobble those up, and then that's where your DPM or DPG comes from, right? Damage per game. And that's how you quote-unquote get better XVM-wise, but it helps to make sure that somehow these guys don't come back. They're on their back heel. Now let's just force them off the edge. That was a good shot, by the way. I like what you did right there. T-50-2 is running. This is a great little sequence here. Little miss. Again, it's going to go back to your personal situation. That was pretty bad gunnery. I would have waited because I saw him moving from right to left. I'd have just aimed in right about here, and you were really low for some reason, and I'd have just waited for him to cross and blapped him right there. So a little bit late to realize it, and not a great shot. So we come in here, try to sneak one. We're auto-aimed. That's not really going to work. That's a big rock right there. This approach is interesting. So you own this guy, all right? Plus you got to get rid of him. Two things. You own him and you got to get rid of him because why? Hummel, M44, M44. The longer he lights you, the more opportunity or more likely one of these three clowns is going to blap you. So it is time to get rid of him. Now, the best way to go after a tank that's hiding behind a rock that's fast is to go after their front end, because backing up is slower. If you go around this way, then we get doot, 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 and he's faster. If you go for his front, he's like, oh, I'm very slow backwards, and you may actually get around that corner and take him out, okay? Or he has to spin his whole hole around, which will take time. So we're kind of going to be, okay, I don't know, how do I deal with this guy? Maybe someone else will kill him, I don't know. And then you come after the back end, which may have been you trying to force him out that way towards your friends. Again, it is definitely an option. But I don't do that in a situation like this. I want those hit points. So I'm just going to go at him and come around the best way, my best approach, and try to kill this dude off. And if he backs out and someone else kills him, good. That's fine. If I was low hit points, I might think about what you were doing there, but look at you. You're good. Look at you, man. And now we're going to back into a bush, and we're thinking, okay, this is a very scary game. I don't know if we're going to win this. What do I do next? See what I'm saying? So what's the plan? Let me ask you, man. What is the plan, Captain? My plan would be to blaze down this, carefully aggressive, with the Cromwell, blaze down here and look for hit points. You got 2 TDs and 3 Artie. Dude, let's go find those clowns. I bet you one of them is worried about this. At least one of them is worried about this. All right. Did you see what just happened there? 261 hit points. Who does 261 hit points that doesn't stun on this list? Probably the Hellcat. Maybe the Su-100 on a low roll, but I'm betting the Hellcat just hit the Cromwell. See how if you're looking around and paying attention, you can come up with some data or some intel? That's a guess. It's not perfect. Could be the Su-100. I believe they have a 300 Alpha, but it's very likely to have been the Hellcat. So that gives me a little essay. I at least know one of the TDs is probably down in this ravine. Now, he may have been hit by somebody back here, but there's definitely a TD back here somewhere. We all sort of guessed as much, but that just clinches it, doesn't it? So we're going to come here and going to kind of go, okay, I don't know, and the Cromwell's fighting people, and we'll peek out what's going on. And I don't know. I hope somebody shows up. Wouldn't it be great if I could get some damage? Maybe someone's right there in that rock, or I don't know. So we'll just chill out here with our hit points. And look, man, this is not me mocking you. It's just I'm trying to get you to understand that at this point, this game is over, and you've got to go seize the day, my friend. Seize the day. Sometimes you're going to run in, and all of a sudden it will be both TDs in that bush with 3 artillery looking at you, and that's too bad. It's a bad day. In a case like this, Romple Stomp is in order. It is clean up on aisle 2. Get your bum in there and start shooting people. In fact, this thing actually has pretty good armor. All right, so you got spotted. Good. There's one in there. There's the Hummel. And I think when you look at this in hindsight, as I'm doing this replay analysis, you're probably going, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in what's going on that you don't really pay attention to what the game situation is. And I've found myself doing that, especially sometimes on stream. I'll get to the point of this in the game and I'm being very careful, and I'll go, oh shoot, we're winning by miles. What am I doing? I think you were building your nest there. Again, that's a TD player kind of thing. Nice shot. That looks like a little auto aim. And that's what you should have done from the beginning. Just go in at the guy. So what if he hits you twice? Couple shots. Looks like he's stunned. Little angle. I like that. And you kill him. Now, if you're going to angle like that, one other thing you can do is rock. I can't do it because I can't make your tank move. But rock back and forth. Okay? Why is my mouse so goobered up like that? Look at the mouse on my screen is right on top of your tank, and it's over on the map. Really irritating. Anyway, move forward and back just to try to spoil. And you can actually shift your hole a little bit. So let me do it with the hand. Forward and back, and wiggle your hole just a little bit. You're trying to catch it in a track or try to create an angle that he just gets a little goofy hit on. If you watch some of the very best brawling players, they're spastic. They're all over the place. But they're generally keeping their tank in the right direction. They're just trying to spoil your shot right there. So I really think you're not going to get any more damage on this one. So definitely a more timid kind of player from the 2 that we've watched. More of a stand back, very much indicative of a main TD player trying to learn how to then play mediums and not play them like a TD. All right. So I think we've covered on some things coming up, some of the camera techniques we talked about. Make sure you're zooming out and looking around. And then just general overall essay of what the heck is going on in the battle and what is my plan. And then when I finish that plan, what's my follow-on plan? As a general rule, I have 3 or 4 plans in mind as I start. Before I even start moving. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. All right, let's do this, but if this happens, then I'll go here. Sometimes all of that just gets exploded and you're in the fight for your life in a knife fight, and that's all you're trying to worry about. But try to always have a plan and a follow-on plan to that one. Also try to always have an out. So very timid right here. Definitely had a chance to get some more hit points. We have 886. A couple real nice things happen in there. Well, let's move on to the T-44. T44. This next one is a great example here of the right positioning and then not really knowing what to do with it. We're on Tundra. We come up here with a lot of tanks. We're bottom tier, so again, we've got to be careful. Object 268 is taking some hits. We get spotted, and we sort of come in here, and we got a bunch of guys. A lot of bad guys there, and so this was not bad. He's kind of futzing around, so we'll just sneak one into the PTA. Fantastic. That's a free shot, so we're ahead on DPM, or sorry, ahead on hit points. We'll just kind of hang out here for a bit, looking for a shot. And this is very TD-esque gameplay right here. Hopefully one of these guys shows up and I can get a shot. Really is what's going through the mind right here, I would imagine. Okay, Kronvagon takes a bunch of hits. And we're kind of looking through our own player here. And we back out and hide. Oh boy, back out and hide. Well, I'm sort of wondering, what are we hiding from? You know what I mean? These guys are all on their back heel. They've been pushed back. We've got a huge overmatch. But the only reason a huge overmatch works is if all those guns are in the game, and yours is not. You got the one shot, but now we're sitting here. Also, what the heck? What about that guy? This dude is completely exposed down here. If a couple of you flex back down here, meta flex, we can take a T-54 out. Excuse me. But I know you don't see him because you never look at him. You never look at him. And that's where my technique of zooming out and going, what's going on around me? Oh, look. A Conqueror is going to go take on a T-54. I want in on some of that action. That's me, bruh. Here I'm going with this guy. We're going to go and look at the Conway is looking at him. Let's go take him out. 3 of us. We nuke him quickly, and then we come back here and we help clean up this hill. But let's watch what happens. Like, ooh, I'm going to shoot a Canaverin in the hatch. No, I can't. Okay. Nope, can't get the hatch. Should I get behind the rock? I'll get behind the rock. No. Back. No. Here we go. All right. Ooh. All right. I was just waiting for that to happen. I knew that dude was up there. I was just waiting for something like that to happen based on what I was watching, because TD players like to look through that V. They just do. That's what they do. It's how they do. And the more you sort of dance around right about there, the more likely you are to get pummeled by one of those guys. And I bet you know that because you play TD. So you've probably sat up there trying to shoot people through that little V. T-54 gets pushed off. He runs off. And we're just we're so very careful right here. Team's got an advantage. And we're kind of hanging out here. All right, so what do I do when I come up here? I try to get up on the hill for a number of reasons. It is going to be a little tricky, but the PTA, it looks like, is the only one there. So what I would do is go up to about where the Centurion is, sort of look around. Maybe I can pop out and take a shot on the Leopard PTA. But if I ever see him shoot at the Centurion or the 268 or whatever, I zing right across that opening and go up on the hill. I go up on the hill. Then I come around to this side. And what have I just done? I've just created a crossfire on the Leopard PTA. And I actually have a pretty good defense on this little bit of rocky bit here. And I kill this PTA off. That's my plan, right? That's a plan. This right here is reaction. So I go, all right, great, we took this. First I'd go help to kill the T-54. He got away without taking any damage, didn't he? That's a T-44. I don't know what the T-54, if he got hit or not. But the plan would be to get here, to get here, to get here, to get here. And once I get here, I go, okay, can we get here? Nope, there's too much of this here. Okay, fine. How about up here? On this little spot up here, I can get there. See what I'm saying? I've got multiple plans. This is just sort of hoping that somebody presents a shot as opposed to making a shot. And that's a big deal. It really is. It's the difference between being a beginner and an intermediate player. 5-1 or 5/1 finally got rid of that guy. Oh, good. There's guys in the middle. Oh, geez. Why are we... Look at that, man. Dude's in the middle. I can come over and hang off this edge and shoot a 54 in the back. Perfect. Great. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm coming around here. And then I make this really dangerous approach right there. And I come back up the hill. And meanwhile, this 54 and his 705 buddy are still chilling out down there. Let's talk a little bit about bringing campers into the game because this is a good example. What exactly are these three accomplishing right now in this game? Bubkiss, squat, nada, nothing, zilch, zero, null. They're camping in a corner. Let them. Go back down here, jump these guys with all your buddies. Make these guys go away. Or get up here on this edge. I don't suggest this one necessarily because there's still some guns in the game probably over there, but this one for sure. Take shots on the T-54. Start to press these guys. These dudes are what we would like to call overexposed, right? Get rid of these two clowns. Get around there. A nice fast nice fast medium like yours can really cause these guys issues, and then let your big guns come in and start finishing them off. But we seem to be more interested in going after campers. Yeah, I think you're using shift for the zoom. I don't want to make too much of it. You'll have to tell me whether you do or not. But that's why I use the scroll, so I can fine tune my zoom. What's going on? No, okay, and then look around. Watch out for this approach on the bush. See that V? That's a big open area. There is a line of sight from here into that V, and I think you're covered up, but if you're much taller, you might be able to be seen through that, so I wouldn't mess around. I'd shift to the left and come up behind those bushes instead of potentially having that V. That took a long time to react to. Man, as soon as I saw that guy in the open, I'd be blitzing over there to get my shots. Oh, free damage. Get there. All right, so I'm asking, I'm kind of wondering, you saw him and then he went dark. Why are we driving out in the open? Because we're going to ask for this kind of thing. Boom. Once he went dark, I just said, okay, let's just wait a minute. And boom, the stirb, and we're lucky we only get tracked right there. He must not have had much of a shot at us. Now we got a Progetto trolling around below us. We got a Standard B and a Centurion with us. There's an Object 268 right there. And we're still up here dueling with the campers. Okay, well, there's a guy. Let's just shoot him. That's a stirb, dude. That's a stirb. 103B. Highly unlikely you're going to pen him in the face. Quite unlikely you're going to get pens on these dudes who are all scurrying around in the open. I think this spot right here would have been a nice one for getting shots. Would have protected you from the stirb. Would have kept you out of the way of the Standard B. And you could back off that very easily. Also, what's going on down here? This Progetto is a problem, potentially. Shot selection and target selection matters, and we're dueling with a camping stirb when we could be working on all kinds of other hit points. That's really asking for it. He's probably moved. I don't know if you get lit here. You do, so he does see you. Progetto 65 just killed your buddy, and you just barely noticed it. I mentioned him a second ago. I was watching him the whole time. He's just waiting for this opportunity. He's about to clean you guys up right here. Your 268's getting pressed, and I'm not really sure what's going on here with the camera. It's very, very hard to follow. But you needed to push forward up here and take a shot at him. Just go hold down. I don't know if he's even looking at you. He's not even looking at you. That's another reason why I don't do this. Why in this situation I would go zoom out and go, what's he doing? Oh, he's looking away from me. Zip, straight up, shoot, straight back. He spins his turret towards me. Maybe the 268 makes a move. What you're trying to do is force him to fight two different directions. Right now, he's not too worried about you because you're not doing a whole bunch. He's also got a lot of hit points. There you go. You got it. That's what you want to do right there. His turret's not pointing, so he goes that way. Now the 5-1 has his attention. And again, very passive sitting back here. You needed to get down there. Possible for you to go down there and soak up two of his shots and allow the 268 to get shots. But I wouldn't YOLO at him, but I would definitely go investigate more shots. And that was very lucky, but good on you. Nicely done. Nicely done. Chase him. Go, go, go. He's running. Go, go. Get the hit points. Get those hit points. Now we don't want to go because the stirb is sitting there. This was nice. This guy goes to a bad spot for him. Good spot for you, bad spot for him. And I really don't understand why Was that your shot? That was your shot. I really don't understand why we were so careful here. After he fired a couple times, I'd have just come right around this corner or into this open area and taken that shot. You really had him. And he's going to reload here pretty soon. There we go. Now we got a shot. That's what we want to do. Nicely done. Sturv. All right, this is important. Sturv's backing out. Sturv is no longer a factor. I don't know if you noticed that, but he was moving. He's backed out of that spot. He can't hit you. This dude is a one-shot to you. You have 715 hit points. He takes 2 to kill you. You certainly have an opportunity to come blitzing around this corner and try to take a shot. And why not? Exactly like the last game I talked about, it's over, dude. Go get your hit points. Go, and if he kills you, so what? I mean, who cares? It's not like you're not going to throw the game. I mean, this is completely overwhelming forces right here, and you would like to get that kill and hit points. And he is so busy fighting multiple directions. I'd use the speed of this thing, come flying around this corner, and just try to snap that guy to death. A really manly man would go for the ram. But again, it's a pixel tank game. Get in there, do it. Who cares? Sturv 103 is dead, and we're still... And this was, I think this is a great sequence because it really describes, in general, your gameplay. You're very, very careful, and that is a good thing. In a lot of situations, it's a very good thing. But in a lot of situations, it's hampering your damage, and it's hampering your gameplay, learning how to be a little bit more aggressive right there. All right there, Captain. I hope that helps you. I really... I probably... I don't think I came off the top rope. I was very insistent, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. But I like a lot of what I see. I think you've got a good base in the carefulness. You need to ratchet up the aggressiveness, work on your camera technique, work on your SA gathering. The technique being to look around and see what's going on and pay attention to all the things around you because you're missing opportunities and you're missing shots. But this is really typical of a primary TD player, and it's not, like I said, it's not a bad thing. You have a good concentration on the things you're looking at, but there's more going on in the battle, and if you want to get better, you've got to open up your aperture and take more of it in. And the only way you do that is to start practicing doing that. All right, man, I hope this helps. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a lot of ways to do so down in the description, and otherwise, we will see you.